run track, high jump, volleyball player, talk plenty stuff all the time.
Dedication, determination, durability that it takes to do something like that is just off the charts, indescribable.
Chamberlain averaged 50 points a game. He probably averaged 75 a game if we were playing today.
I think that if you had to analyze all of the centers who have played the game before, as far as basketball skills are concerned, there's never been anybody to accomplish what Wilt Chamberlain has accomplished.
When it comes to players with the most legendary stories, Wilt Chamberlain stands in a class of his own. His legacy is a mix of undeniable achievements and almost mythical tales that blur the line between reality and legend. Imagine a player so athletically gifted, he could bench press over 500 pounds, run a 4.6 and a 40-yard dash as a 7-footer, and dominate the court like no one else, scoring 100 points in a single game and averaging an unbelievable 50 points and 25 rebounds over an entire season. Records like these still feel unreal, making you wonder if they could really have happened. Wilt's story is unlike any other in sports history. His dominance on the court, his crazy athleticism, and larger-than-life personality made him more than just a player. He was an icon. Even now, his name will still spark heated debates, and he's in almost every record book. Wilt Chamberlain is definitely one of the most fascinating figures in the game. Some stories sound almost too wild to believe, like when he blocked Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's skyhook twice in one game. It's no surprise people thought Wilt was almost superhuman. His incredible physical gifts make him seem more like a superhero from a comic book than a real person. So here's a collection of insane stories of Wilt Chamberlain that make him seem superhuman. Enjoy the video, man.
I've been watching. We'll give you a couple talks soon, man. All right, let's be good. Thanks.
First time you meet Wilt Chamberlain is yesterday. What was that like?
It was a privilege, actually. I mean, I've been second to him in a lot of different things in different scoring categories, and you know, I've heard so many great things about him, and he's one of the great players of all time. And you know, I just never had a chance to meet him, and it was a pleasure for me to meet him, actually. And hopefully we get the chance to sit down and talk. That's something that he wanted to do, and I just want to hear some of his philosophy about things, that the way that he approached the game, and see it and compare that to the way that I go about the game. And yeah, it was a privilege, actually. I enjoyed today.
You know, I always look back at, you know, the further I look back, the better I was. Of course. And, I like that. And I didn't want him to score a lot of points. No.
So when he got to 62, it burned you personally?
Yeah, because I think we lost that game. If he got 62 and we won, it wouldn't mean anything. But when he got 62, I think they won the game. That bothered me. I don't sleep for a couple of days because I remember some of those games. It's 62 points to 55 rebounds.
Let me get 3. Only regret I have right now is 2 regrets. Actually 3. Missing 5,000 free throws. Not passing up Wilt Chamberlain in points. And not being higher on the scoring list. That's it. Those are my only 3 regrets.
You had more championships than Wilt.
Yeah, I got more champions, but you know, when it comes to basketball conversations, I'm very arrogant. I only want to hear my name. So when they say who's the most dominant player ever, I want them to say my name. I don't want them to be like, maybe Wilt, maybe Shaq. That don't fly with me. I want them to say Shaq.
Does that really bother you?
Yeah, it does. I saw him one time in LA, and this is no lie. We at a restaurant, I'm here, Wilt's right there. No hi, no you suck, no anything.
Didn't acknowledge you at all.
No. So unlike these guys that get upset when I go at them, I took it to myself and said, okay, he don't know who I am yet. The greats don't recognize me yet, I must not be great. And if you don't think I'm great, I got work to do. It's a pecking order thing. It's a respect thing. Now, after all that, when you go in the Staples Center and you see my name up there, it's well deserved.
When I watched Wilt Chamberlain, listen, he got still over 60-some NBA records that would never be broken. The guy averaged 50 and 30 rebounds a game for one season.
I couldn't believe it when I read it.
I saw a video, an old tape of him, where a guy goes to shoot it over him, and he lobs it high. Chamberlain jumps, and his fingertips is at the top of the backboard when he catches a shot. I've never seen anything like that. That's unhuman, you know, for someone to do that. And so what he did and his dominance, you know, on the floor to get 100 points in one game, and with the physicality that he played with and against, where people were basically trying to take him out, and they couldn't. He was too strong. I mean, he was benching 650 pounds before games. The guy was an incredible. So you start with Russell, you start with guys like Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem. Those guys was before their time.
Wilt did not use his strength and his bulk. And this is what I'm talking about, a different animal in Shaquille. Wilt shot the fadeaway. Wilt shot a finger roll. Wilt did not go in and bump and dislodge people. That was not his game. So it was a little bit easier to defend against him. And if you remember, the main point is 60% or more of Wilt's shots came on fadeaways. So you had to extend out to get him, not him bumping you back.
Nate Thurman, a great defensive player in his own time. We found him down the road in Highway 80 at Nate's Barbecue in the Bay Area. Kevin?
He played like 12 and a half years, let's say. And he was the all-time leading scorer before everybody else started. He still has 72 records on the books. He's got 68 records by himself. So he's got, he's tied with 4 people in another average. I mean, and this has been, 40-some years ago. Just numbers in itself tell 50 points a game, average 20-some rebounds a game. He averaged almost 48 minutes a game. I mean, when you
led the league in assists once, which is unheard of as a center.
Exactly. Whatever they said he couldn't do, he did.
He could touch the top of the backboard.
No way.
Oh yeah.
But I was talking about jumping up.
Yeah.
Jumping up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he was 7 foot.
That's crazy.
Well, you know what? He ran like world record times in the 440.
What?
And through the javelin.
Wilt Chamberlain?
The shot.
Wilt Chamberlain?
Oh yeah, when he was at Kansas, and he.
Wow, I did not know that.
Oh yeah, I mean he threw either the shot or the javelin almost world record distance.
So one day at the beach, everybody playing volleyball, having a great time, playing cards, having a great time. And the conversation shifts to football. And
who's everybody? You said everybody's there. Who?
Yeah, I mean all the cool people down at the beach.
So you said Wilt. You and Wilt?
And so Wilt says, I can throw the football. And everybody scoffs. Everybody goes, yeah, right, Wilt. And so Wilt tells one of the other guys, he says, just go out there, run down the beach and I'll throw it to you. So the guy runs down the beach, you can barely see him. And Wilt keeps waving him on. Said, further. And everybody is just like laughing at Wilt. Wilt steps back, one crank of the shoulder there to loosen it up, takes the football and throws it underhand over the guy's head, who's now about 90 yards down.
Oh, stop. Come on now. Come on.
I was there. It was incredible. Wilt couldn't do anything.
90 yards underhand?
90 yards in the air underhand.
What were you guys doing on that beach?
Oh, we were having a great time.
Yeah, I'm sure. You might have thought it went 90 yards.
We saw it. We were amazed it even stayed inside the Earth's gravitational force.
Who knows the game of basketball could possibly, in my mind, ever pick anyone other than Wilt Chamberlain as the greatest all-around center to play the game of basketball. Bill Russell you would pick as far as the greatest impact on a team and their success as far as winning championships. But if you took all of the skills that are required to play the center position in the game of professional basketball, no one center could do as many things as Wilt did and do them so magnificently. I think that if you had to analyze all of the centers who have played the game before, as far as basketball skills are concerned, there's never been anybody to accomplish what Wilt Chamberlain has accomplished, and he was an incredible human being, an incredible physical specimen, and a great athlete. And I don't think anybody will come along who will be able to match the records that Wilt has accomplished. He just never had the personnel like Bill Russell had to go along with him.
I think some of our best games were played at the Rucker tournament. Every ball player, whether it was the guys from California or the guys from New York, and either NBA ball players, they would play all the time in this Rucker tournament. And I remember there was a game against Brooklyn. I played with Brooklyn, and Wilt played with the team from Philly. And we had this game against them, and it was probably one of the best games you've ever seen. But everybody don't remember it because it wasn't on the video. It was pre-video. So I mean, it was a great game, and I think that Wilt. And we had a guy by the name of Jackie Jackson, who was like 6'4" and he can actually touch the top of the backboard. I've heard people talk about guys touching the backboard. This guy can do it. And we ran a play, and Wilt used to shoot this fadeaway jump shot. He used to go up high and shoot it off the glass. So we had a play that we would make Wilt shoot this jump shot, and Jackie would come over and block it. And we had the play set up perfect. Wilt went in and turned, shot a jump shot. Jackie came from the weak side and caught it right at the top of the backboard. And the crowd went crazy. People were running around the place and jumping off the fence and almost jumping off the ceilings and stuff, and it was just phenomenal. And we looked over at Wilt, and Wilt was staring at us, and Wilt called timeout, just called timeout like that. And everybody was still running around screaming, and back then there wasn't high fives. They were giving everybody low fives and stuff. Everybody was clapping and carrying on. And then the next 15 plays were dunks by Wilt that I've never seen before in my life. He dunked every single way he can be imaginable.
Wilt was a huge influence in my life. I've been the luckiest guy in the world. And so when Kareem was coming up and Wilt would get super mad in my early days of broadcasting for the Clippers when I would talk about Wilt's records. This was, in the 90s and early 90s and 33 years ago now. And I would always refer to it, as when Wilt would miss 5,000 free throws in his career. And Wilt would call me and say, "Hey, Billy, don't talk about that. If I thought that was important, I would have made them." And then when Kareem was coming to pass him and break his records, Wilt, he would say to all of us, and these were, personal conversations, Jack, because Wilt was just an incredible human being. He was a combination, personality-wise, of Magic Johnson and Santa Claus. And so when you would ask, when you would be talking and Kareem was coming up, and the level of skill, talent, dedication, determination, durability that it takes to do something like that is just off the charts, indescribable. And so as Kareem is, inching up and going to get there, and I was watching the game when Kareem swung the skyhook in Mark Eaton's face and hit it in Las Vegas, and so Wilt would say, "Billy, if I thought anybody was ever going to break my records, I just would have doubled them up."
What comes to mind for you regarding Wilt?
Well, for me, what comes to mind is just how physically dominating Wilt was. I mean, his size and strength and athletic ability, he had a great variety of really incredible strong points to his athletic skills. If people don't realize that, he can, when he went to the University of Kansas, he competed in the shot put and the high jump and the quarter mile, in addition to playing on the basketball team. He was really a superlative athlete, and I think that is something that is really lost on people these days because they don't see that very often.
Wilt was putting on a show for people. Wilt carried the NBA for years. And I've always said this, that the year when Philadelphia moved out to San Francisco and Syracuse came down to Philly, Wilt averaged 50 points a game. And people don't say anything about
unbelievable.
it. And and my good friend Bill Russell won the MVP that year. He played great because they won the championship. But when you average 50 points a game,
no crazy.
That's, and I averaged a triple-double.
Right.
So, but I'd still say Wilt carried the NBA that year. And, and they don't ever say that much about it.
How great was he? And could he have played in any era and dominated?
Oh, I think he could have. Wilt was a great athlete. He could run track, high jump. But, he got it done on the court. I mean, one game they played in, and these guys today talk about how great they are. Sure, there's some great basketball players. Guy gets 50 rebounds. Well, I think Russell got 48 that game. I mean, can you imagine one man getting 50 rebounds in a basketball game?
It's incredible.
It is, and and the thing about it, he played every minute.
Put my elbow into his solar plexus, and I heard him grunt. Ugh. And as I was coming back on the court, he was coming after me with his left hand, and I knew that was not to shake my hand because he's right-handed. And I knocked this photographer off his stool. I picked up the stool, and I reached back to hit Wilt. And by that time, the whole bench on both teams had emptied, and Russell was in front of Wilt. Wilt was looking over his shoulders, pointing at me and saying, "Sam Jones, I'm going to make you eat the stool." And I was saying, "Wilt Chamberlain, I'm going to crack your kneecaps." Well, anyway, that got over. The next night, we played in Philadelphia. And so Wilt Chamberlain told me, he says, "Don't come into the paint tonight." And, being a smart aleck, I said, "Well, I'm going to come in there. The first time I got the ball, I went in for a layup. He did not try to block the ball at all. He blocked my body. He put me flat on my back, and I remember him coming and getting close to me and saying, the next time you come in here, I'll knock you flat on your butt again, as he was picking me up. And I says, I won't be back. And that whole night, I did not come back into the paint.
Shaquille didn't have quite the same athleticism that Wilt had. He had the bounce and he had the speed, but he didn't have the endurance that obviously by the 48 minutes a night that we talked about. He had a jump hook, whereas Wilt didn't have a jump hook. He had an array of shots. He had a hook, he had a finger roll, he had a turnaround jump shot. And Shaq was a post sprinter, where he'd go down and get in the lane ahead of the crowd, and Wilt was never much of a post sprinter. He used to take his time. In fact, when he rebounded, a lot of times he'd make the guards come back to him. They changed the rules when Wilt was in the game, and he got 3 to make 2. So even then, at that time, you foul Wilt if he was underneath the lane. And one night, we were in a playoffs against Philadelphia when he was still with Philadelphia, and they fouled out both Walt Bellamy and Willis Reed, and I ended up having to be the third center to go in and play Wilt a double overtime game. So it was one of those things. But the thing with Wilt is he took me up with him when he went up to shoot a shot. He was that strong. He was very strong.
Wilt Chamberlain's playing with 4 of my freshmen against Magic, Bernard King, James Worthy, Byron Scott, and Green.
AC Green.
AC Green.
Huh?
And it's game point. Magic throws a sky hook. Wilt blocks it. Magic calls game. And Wilt says, that wasn't goaltending. That was a clean block. And Magic took the ball. He said, game over, next. And Wilt said, hey, coach, was that goaltending? And I said, no, that was a clean block. Magic says, what do you think he's going to say? They're his kids. And Wilt says, all right, look, we're going to play a game till 12. We'll do it again. Winner stays, and there'll be no more shots made at this basket. He blocked every shot. 43 years old.
Chamberlain was another one that I met and trained with. Wilt Chamberlain.
You trained with Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah, Wilt Chamberlain would be in the gym. We eventually ended up doing a movie together.
Yeah, Conan.
Conan the Destroyer, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I was a big fan of his because he came to the gym and he would do a tricep extension that, like, the big guys, the strongest guys, would do, let's say, 120 pounds, let's say, tricep extension, pulling down, right? He would come and he would do 150, 170 pounds, Wilt Chamberlain. That's how strong he was.
They always said he was by far the strongest person who's ever played in the NBA.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember that he lifted me up like with one arm like nothing.
Chamberlain averaged 50 points a game. He probably averaged 75 a game if he were playing today. You know why I say that? Because you can't put your hand on guys. When I played, you could hand check them. Now you can't hand check them. So it's much more difficult to stop players that way.
And Wilt actually completed the dunk, came down, took Calvin off his back, and put him on the floor. You all right, little fella?
Probably the greatest play I have ever seen in my life. Wilt Chamberlain was involved with Gus Johnson. Wilt was standing there. Gus goes up to dunk it. Wilt catches the ball, throws Gus to the floor, still holding the ball. They carry Gus off the court with a dislocated shoulder from bouncing off the floor. I don't see how anyone in the NBA will ever be as strong as he was.
So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and tell me what was your favorite Wilt Chamberlain story. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, and until next time.